and 70-year-old married a 20-year-old. A year after the wedding, the couple arrives at the delivery room. A male boy weighing 3.5 kilograms was born, healthy and beautiful. The nurse asks the old man, "Yours?" "Yes," the old man replies proudly. "Congratulations," the nurse replies. "Well," says the old man, "the old engine still runs." 2 years later, the duo arrives at the delivery room again. A 3.5 kilograms girl was born, healthy and beautiful. The nurse asks the old man, "Yours?" "Yes," the old man answers. "Well done," the nurse answers. "The engine still runs," said the old man. After 2 more years, they come to the delivery room again. A 3.5-year-old male son is born, healthy and beautiful. The nurse asks the old man, "Yours?" "Yes," the old man replies. "Congratulations," the nurse says, "that's really impressive." "Well," says the old man, "the engine is still running." "Well," says the nurse, "you may want to change the oil, the last one came out black."
A man sitting at a bar after work shares with the bartender why he is looking so stressed. "I'm not sleeping well. I have nightmares about a monster under my bed and I am too embarrassed to seek help." A patron nearby overhears this and introduces himself. "I overheard your story and I am a psychiatrist. Maybe I can help. The first thing is you recognize these are only dreams, and that is obvious, so I should be able to help you in a few sessions. Here's my card, give me a call." A few weeks pass and the same two are once again at the bar after work. The psychiatrist says to the other guy, "Hi, how goes the nightmares? I never heard from you, so I hope you are doing okay." The other guy says, "Things are great, the bartender helped me." Psychiatrist: "The bartender helped you? You needed a trained professional to help you. What possibly could a bartender do that a psychiatrist couldn't?" The other guy says, "He told me to saw the legs off my bed."
A man went to the doctor. He said, "Doc, you gotta check my leg. Something's wrong. Just put your ear up to my thigh, you'll hear it." The doctor cautiously placed his ear to the man's thigh only to hear, "Gimme $20. I really need $20. I've never seen or heard anything like this before. How long has this been going on?" The doctor asked. "That's nothing, document, put your ear to my knee." The doctor put his ear to the man's knee and heard it say, "Man, I really need $10. Just lend me $10. Sir, I really don't know what to tell you. I've never seen anything like this." The doctor was dumbfounded. "Wait, doc, that's not it. There's more, just put your ear up to my ankle," the man urged him. The doctor did as the man said and was blown away to hear his ankle plead, "Please, I just need $5. Lend me $5, please, if you can." "I have no idea what to tell you," the doctor said. "There's nothing about it in my books," he said as he frantically searched all his medical reference books. "I can make a well-educated guess though. Based on life and all my previous experience, I can tell you that your leg appears to be broke in 3 places."
While in China, an American single man acts promiscuous and does not use protection the entire time he is there. A week after arriving back home in the States, he wakes one morning to find his swimsuit area covered with bright green and purple spots. Horrified, he immediately goes to see a doctor. The doctor, never having seen anything like this before, orders some tests and tells the man to return in 2 days for the results. After 2 days, the doctor tells him, "I've got bad news for you. You have contracted Mongolian VD. It's very rare and almost unheard of here in the US. We know very little about it." The man, perplexed, asks, "Well, can't you give me a shot or something to fix me up, doc?" The doctor answers, "I'm sorry, there's no known cure. We are going to have to amputate." "Wait. What?" The man screams in horror. Absolutely not. I want a second opinion. The doctor replies. Well, it's your choice. Go ahead if you want, but surgery is your only option. The man shops around, going to many doctors and experts, but they all tell him the same, they must remove the organ. At some point a friend tells him, You contracted this in China, right? Then why not go to a Chinese doctor? The man, having not thought of that, seeks out a Chinese doctor in the hopes he'll know more about the disease. The Chinese doctor examines the problematic area and proclaims, yes, Mongolian VD. Very rare disease. The guy says to the doctor, Yeah, I already know that, but what can we do? My American doctor wants to cut off my organ. The Chinese doctor shakes his head and laughs. Stupid American doctors, always want to operate, make more money that way. No need to amputate. Oh, thank God! The man exclaims. Yes, says the Chinese doctor. Wait 2 weeks. Fall off by itself.
A man comes running to the doctor shouting and screaming in pain. Please, doctor, you've got to help me. I've been stung by a bee. Don't worry, says the doctor, I'll put some cream on it. You will never find that bee. It must be miles away by now. No, you don't understand, answers the doctor, I'll put some cream on the place you were stung. Oh. It happened in the garden in back of my house. No, says the doctor getting frustrated, I mean on which part of your body did that bee sting you? On my finger, screamed the man in pain. The bee stung me on my finger and it really hurts. Which one, the doctor? How am I supposed to know? All the bees look the same to me.
There was a man named Ray Berkowitz, and he was at work when his wife called in panic she was ready to give birth. He hurried to the hospital as quickly as he could, marveling that his son, Charles, is about to be born. One day while Ray was out of town for work, he got a call from his wife that she was going into labor. He rushed back but didn't make it before she gave birth, and she called him to tell him it was a healthy baby boy. He drove all night and all day and finally made it to the hospital. He was so excited he rushed straight to the maternity ward and to the nursery where he found a big glass room with a big sign above the door, "Beautiful babies." Excitedly he rushed in. "I want to see my son." The nurse asked for the name. Charles Berkowitz. The nurse looked at the list and said, "Sorry, sir, your kid isn't here. Try the next nursery down the hall." Perplexed, Ray walked down the hall to another big glass room with another big sign, "Beautiful babies." "All right. My son will have a pretty easy life looking handsome," he thought and walked in. "I want to see my son." "Name, please." "Charles Berkowitz." The nurse looks over her list and says, "Sorry, sir, not here. Try the nursery down the hall." So the man walks down the hall to find another room with a big sign, "Ugly babies." "That's all right," he thought. "Looks don't matter." He walked in smiling and said, "I want to see my son, Charles Berkowitz." The nurse looks over her list and frowns. "Sorry, sir, try the next nursery down the hall." Dejected, the man walks down the hall to a room that wasn't glass, that had a smaller sign over the door, "Very ugly babies." It doesn't matter what he looks like, he thinks to himself. I'll love him no matter what. He walks in. "Please, I want to see my son." Charles Berkowitz. The nurse looks down at her list and shakes her head. "I'm sorry, he's not here. Try the next nursery down the hall." He was getting really worried now. He walks down another long hallway that ends in a single steel door with a little plaque on it that says,
Two doctors, Dean and Gable, are treating a man with lung disease. They're explaining how his smoking weed has led to his condition worsening. "But it's just herbal," the patient protested. "How can it be bad? Dr. Jenkins sighed. Nature isn't all innocent. Apricot stones contain lethal amounts of cyanide. There is a certain plant in my back garden, if you sit under it for just 5 minutes, you will die. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's safe for you. The man seemed to accept that, and promised to stop his smoking. After he left, the doctors went to lunch. As they were sitting down to eat, Dr. Smith asked, "Oh, by the way, what is that plant that kills you if you sit under it?" "A water lily."
A mother and her teen daughter arrive at the doctor's office. The doctor says, "Okay, what seems to be the problem?" The mother says, "It's my daughter Susie. She keeps getting these cravings, she's putting on weight and is sick most mornings." The doctor gives Susie a good examination, and then turns to the mother and says, "Well, I don't know how to tell you this, but Susie is pregnant. About 3 months would be my guess." The mother says, "Pregnant? She can't be, she has never ever been left alone with a man. Have you, Susie?" Susie says, "No, Mom. I've never even kissed a man." The doctor walks over to the window and just stares out of it. A few moments later the mother says, "Is there something wrong out there, doctor?" The doctor replies, "No, not really. It's just that the last time something like this happened, a star appeared in the east and 3 wise men came over the hill. I'll be darned if I'm going to miss it this time."
A woman went into a doctor's office with a baby. She's taken into an examining room and waits for the doctor. The doctor examines the baby and finds him not gaining much weight and asks the woman, "Is he breastfed or on the bottle?" "Oh, he is breastfed," replied the woman. "Well then, strip down to your waist," orders the doctor. She takes off her top and bra and sits on the examining table. The doc starts pressing, kneading, and pinching both breasts for quite a while in a very detailed and thorough examination. After a few minutes of this, the doctor motions to her to get dressed, then he says, "No wonder this baby is so hungry. You don't have any milk." The woman responds with a wry grin, "Well, of course I don't." "Why is that?" asks the doctor in surprise. "Well, I'm his aunt, but I'm sure glad I brought him in today."
One day, a woman walks into a dentist's office and asks how much it will cost to extract wisdom teeth. $80, the dentist says. "That's a ridiculous amount," the woman says. "Isn't there a cheaper way?" "Well," the dentist says, "if you don't use an anesthetic, I can knock the price down to $60. "That's still too expensive," replies the woman. "Okay," says the dentist. "If I save on anesthesia and simply rip the teeth out with a pair of pliers, I can knock the price down to $20. "Nope," moans the woman. "It's still too much." "Well," says the dentist, scratching his head, "if I let one of my students do it, I suppose I can knock the price down to $10. "Marvelous," says the woman. "May I book my mother-in-law for next Tuesday, please?"
A man went to the hospital to visit his mother-in-law, who was in serious condition. On the way back, the wife, very worried, asks, "So, honey, how's my mom doing?" He replies, "She looks great. She is in good health. She will still live for many years. Next week she will be released from the hospital and will come and live with us forever." "Wow, that's amazing," says the surprised wife, "but this is very strange, dear. Yesterday she seemed to be on her deathbed. The doctors said she should have a few days to live." "Well, I don't know how she was yesterday," he replied, "but today when I arrived at the hospital, the doctor told me that we should prepare for the worst."
3 new corpses were delivered to the morgue one day, each with a great big smile on his face. The mortification examines each of them, and says who they are and their cause of death. First body Frenchman, age 60, died making love to his mistress, hence the smile on his face. Second body Irishman, age 30, won €1,000 in the lottery, spent it all on whiskey, and died of alcohol poisoning, hence the smile on his face. The inspector then asks, "What about the third body?" The mortician says, "This is perhaps the most unlikely of all. Billy Bob, a farm boy from Oklahoma, age 25, struck by lightning. Why is he smiling then? He thought he was getting his picture taken."
I've heard some people are really going crazy from isolation. I'm glad I'm not one of those. I've just been talking about this with the microwave and toaster while drinking coffee, and all of us agreed that things are getting bad. I didn't mention anything to the washing machine as she puts a different spin on everything. Certainly not to the fridge as he is acting cold and distant. The sink just said everything is going down the drain. In the end, the iron calmed me down as she said everything will be fine, the situation isn't that pressing. The vacuum was very unsympathetic. Told me to just suck it up, but the fan was more optimistic and felt it would all soon blow over. The toilet looked a bit flushed when I asked its opinion, and it didn't say anything, but the doorknob told me to get a grip. The front door said I was unhinged, and then the curtains told me to pull myself together.
For years Frank's knees or elbows would start to ache at 8:50 a.m. and 8:50 p.m. At first he thought nothing of it. He was getting older, and he figured it was all part of aging. After about 5 years Frank got concerned and started seeing doctor after doctor trying to figure out what was causing it. Desperate, he started looking to alternative medicine. No help. He started seeing doctors running pill mills. No help. The pain would come back twice a day every day. At his wit's end he goes and sees a doctor in a filthy clinic. This doctor had been suspended many times, sued and lost every lawsuit, but Frank was losing hope for a diagnosis. Sitting on an exam table in a thin paper exam gown, Frank tells the sleazy doctor, every day at 8:50 I'm in pain. The best doctors in the state cannot figure out what the cause is." The sleazy doctor sitting there in his stained lab coat, filterless cigarette dangling from his mouth, looks up and down at Frank and finally says, "It's simple. You have tendinitis."
Two attorneys boarded a flight out of Seattle. One sat in the window seat, the other sat in the middle seat. Just before takeoff, a physician got on and took the aisle seat next to the two attorneys. The physician kicked off his shoes, wiggled his toes, and was settling in when the attorney in the window seat said, "I think I'll get up and get a Coke." "No problem," said the physician, "I'll get it for you." While he was gone, one of the attorneys picked up the physician's shoe and spat in it. When he returned with the Coke, the other attorney said, "That looks good, I think I'll have one too." Again, the physician obligingly went to fetch it, and while he was gone, the other attorney picked up the other shoe and spat in it. The physician returned and they all sat back and enjoyed the flight. As the plane was landing, the physician slipped his feet into his shoes and knew immediately what had happened. "How long must this go on?" he asked. "This fighting between our professions? This hatred? This animosity? This spitting in shoes and pissing in Cokes?"
A man is strolling past the mental hospital and suddenly remembers an important meeting. Unfortunately, his watch has stopped, and he cannot tell if he is late or not. Then, he notices a patient similarly strolling about within the hospital fence. Calling out to the patient, the man says, "Pardon me, sir, but do you have the time?" The patient calls back, "One moment," and throws himself upon the ground, pulling out a short stick as he does. He pushes the stick into the ground, and pulling out a carpenter's level, assures himself that the stick is vertical. With a compass, the patient locates north and with a steel ruler, measures the precise length of the shadow cast by the stick. Withdrawing a slide rule from his pocket, the patient calculates rapidly, then swiftly packs up all his tools and turns back to the pedestrian, saying, "It is now precisely 3:29 p.m., provided today is August 16th, which I believe it is." The man can't help but be impressed by this demonstration, and sets his watch accordingly. Before he leaves, he says to the patient, "That was really quite remarkable, but tell me, what do you do on a cloudy day, or at night, when the stick casts no shadow?" The patient shrugs and says, "I suppose I just look at my watch."
Subscribe for more. Hit that button now and never miss the fun.